Hi guys, welcome back to the barn. I am literally at the point that you left me the last time I was working on this workstation. So I need to get all this equipment taken off the top and just put away safely for a while and then make the top. The first thing I'm going to do is make a frame that fits inside this router tower and then laminate a top together. And then we need to cut an hole for the router. It doesn't sound a lot, but I think there is a lot of work. Right, let's get on. So the first thing I need to do is cut two pieces of wood that are 700 long, and this isn't 700 long, to make the top from. And I'm going to make the top from this same furniture board that I make the rest of it from. Yes, I know it's a bit cruddy, but we're still prototyping here, certainly prototyping the top. And actually, I quite like the challenge of making stuff from maybe what is seen as substandard wood. I think I can rescue it. And as Baldrick would say, I've got a cunning plan. Oversize, I'm going to cut them at 400. I just need to put a couple of screws in the table saw because I've not fixed it down yet. There are our two tops. Now I need to make 6 pieces that form a frame inside the tower. A couple at 600 and I need a couple at 300. And I probably need to cut them about 70mm wide, I think. If I can. So this is one of the issues I'm going to have here, which I knew about, is that I've got this is going to collide with that. I knew that was going to happen. I just hope I didn't need to sort it now. There is a way around it by using that. I think how wide's that? 90mm. I don't think there is a way around it. Make it out of maybe that. If I've got some more. 600, 300, okay, excellent. Right, it's a bit messy. So before I cut this wood, I'm just going to have to adjust the side of this cabinet, which is fine. I needed to do it anyway. I just didn't want to do it now, but I've no choice. The runners here for the saw is colliding with there, like that. And I knew it was going to do. I was just hoping I could address it further down the road. I've got two options. I can either cut it off under there, which I think I will anyway, or I can just cut a notch around it to make it work. And I think I'm going to do that just for now, because I'm just not 100% what I need to cut it off at. And we're literally talking of about 5mm collision, so I think I'll just cut 5mm off, then address it later. Hopefully that'll work now. No slides past. Right. I might as well now just cut a back panel to go in the back of that. Now, I'm not too bothered about the height of it at the moment, but what I want to do is I just want to make sure that that panel's square, and also I might just put a spacer in here as well just to keep that square. Right, day 2 of the build. What I need to do is form a little box from them, glue these two together. I just need to get some dimensions off the inside of this box. 560 by 306. I need to make a little frame that's slightly smaller than that dimension. I'm just putting there and it just falls down. Cut these to length now. So these are going here and they're about 3mm short of the sides, and these here go in there and combined they're about 3mm short of the sides. So I need to just to make this up now into a frame, sand that paint off later. I'll make sure it's square, not look very square at the moment. 625, 640. It's well not square. A bit more on that corner. Okay, a bit better. Okay, so that's a bit rough at the moment, but I'll tidy it up off camera. Should go in there. Clamp off. That should go in there quite freely. There we go. Last time I've sanded that off. So I want that to do that. So the next thing I need to do is glue these two together. Now I've still got this slight bowing of the material. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue them with the grain rings to grain rings as they are now. And I'm just going to get my track saw and cut a series of little grooves in there just to help the bendingness, and then I'm just going to glue them together, and then I'm going to glue that to the bottom. Now I don't want any fixings in this, but I might put some fixings in just temporary. I could put some pocket hole screws in there just to hold it while everything sets. I can put some screws through here and then leave it overnight and then take all the screws out. Serves me right for buying cheap wood. I do claim it extenuating circumstances. I was doing a favour for a friend whilst I was down at the DIY centre, and I just grabbed 4 pieces while I was there in a rush. There's no point wasting them, is there? We just have to work with what we've got. It's tree wood, can do anything anyway. Sure, I've still got a glove on. Right, where's my other bit gone? See what that's like when it comes out of the clamp. Perfect. Right, it's tea time. Okay, so it's been sat like this for a few hours now, so it should be dry. So the next stage, I was contemplating putting a threaded insert like this in with a bolt, kind of there, each 4 corners. However, I've been down to the small barn workshop stores and I can't find any more bolts like that. I've got loads of inserts like this, but what I have found are these, which are some feet I took off a desk a while ago. And there's a couple of reasons why these are quite good. First of all, they're just slightly narrower than that timber, so that's good. Secondly, the spanner that comes with the router lift actually fits them perfectly. So I think that's a no-brainer, that's going in. So what I need to do is drill an hole for the shank of these to go in, that depth, and also a slightly larger hole so I can install these nuts into the holes and then just glue them in with some 5-minute epoxy. So they are 12mm, 15 across. The bolts are 10, size of that, 12. That could be worth them. Perfect. Just chop that out with chisel just so they go in. Right, that's what we'll do then. As we use this. sure the epoxy proxy don't glue it in. So I'll be in Barney. Going round, that's going round. So I need 2 more battens. Well, I keep twiddling these that are whatever these are long, 560-ish. That's one of them. I say 25mm. That's it then. Hey, I love using offcuts up. I need to cut these sides down, put a clamp on there somewhere. Keep twiddling these, twiddly twiddly. That's almost level. Don't have to be level as long as it's level with the top. So the top of the saw is 35mm from there. So 35mm is there, 35mm is there. So that's the top of the saw, 38mm. So I can take 38mm off there, which is there, 38mm off there. So that's where I need to cut that down to for my worktop to fit. However, I've now got a float of 60mm. Now I'm not going to cut all that off, but I could easily cut 20mm off, which is there. And then that leaves me 40mm up, 20mm down. So if I cut from the top of that level, 3.5 inch is my level. Cut that off. Little bow, are you coming? Let's have a look. It's quite heavy, that. Hey, it looks like it grew there. And it's slightly too low. It is about 20mm too low. Or it's 20mm too high. Too low, too high. Right then, and the other thing we need to see is, with all that gluing up, flat. Look at that, it's witchcraft. So what I need to do now is cut this into 2 bearers and screw it on the sides of here for these little feet to stand on. Pick a level, and then I can get my spanner in and adjust these and lift the top up. And then I need to put some holes in. I might put them on the outside that I can just put a screw through to lock it at the height. So I'm glad I didn't glue that bearer on, because actually needs to come up the height of its thickness really, so I can wind the feet a bit higher. So at the moment everything's flush here. I've got loads of travel. I could actually take it down 20mm if I want, but actually probably only can take it up 10mm, so I'd rather just move them bearers up a little bit, and then I can actually lift the router table sort of 10mm past the height of the table saw. I don't know whether I'll need to do that, but I've got that facility. So I need to put a bearer on the front, because this at the moment the frame's sat right back, so it can't drift backwards and forwards. There isn't really that much movement in it at all. Actually, the movement is just the cabinet springing open there, so once I put that bearer on, that'll stop it. I might even not even bother putting a fixing in. I thought I might have to put a fixing through the cabinet into the table to stop it moving around, but it's actually so heavy that I think I'm happy with it in that position. Trim down this side so it's parallel with the saw, and then I need to trim off front and back now, and I also need to address this issue of the rack and pinion bar colliding with the top. But I think what I can do there is actually just cut it out, a groove out underneath, so this runs into it. It actually only moves that far in. So really what I need to do is kind of need to cut out sort of that. But I could do that with a router. Not going to worry too much about that just at the minute. It's stopping me cutting anything smaller than maybe 130mm, so I need to do that. Right then, done for today. Okay, final little bit of fitting to do before I cut the hole in the middle. So I'm going to move the saw back, place it so it's parallel to this top, cut a parallel edge to the saw on the top, and then cut another parallel edge here and just square the top up. I'm going to take the minimum off as I can. I might need to trim this later in the build just to make sure it's square and parallel. I just need any standard packaging. Just line the saw that way, put that in there and slide it back. Make sure it's tight up so that saw is now parallel, so then I can get something spirit level. Just line that up with the edge like that, and then just mark a line on. I'm not going to cut all that off, but at least I've just got a parallel line to align my track up with. That's about 12mm, so I can afford to add 10mm to that line. Hello Gracie, have you found them chickens yet? The chickens have just gone out in the garden and Grace is absolutely mesmerised with them. 38mm, about 45mm then. Then I followed you. Move the saw up. This time. So that should be 392. 392, we're nice and parallel. Straight edge, just need to square these off now. Right, just check for squareness. 796. 796. Like that. So the next thing to do is mount the router. Now we just have to, first of all, take this off. Take these two screws that I put in yesterday, and then remember that the frame of this is about 70mm in, so can't encroach into that 70mm zone. That's my no-go area, so I can put this router in anywhere between there and there. What I would like to do is see whether play around with all this. I think if I put this in here, I'm never going to hit the zero. The zero, I'd have to be there. Unfortunately, my top's going to be too narrow to make that work. So when I'm on zero, which gives me a little bit of a dilemma when I fit this. Do I leave them further forward so the zero measurement doesn't work on the middle? Or do I cut them short so my zero works? But if I do that, then maybe in the future, if I make another router table, I want to use these, then they're too short. Let me know in the comments what you think I should do. So the question is, do I put my router back so I've got more room here, or do I put them here so I've got more room with the fence? Or do I just put it slap bang in the middle? Most of the time when you're routering very smaller components. Not very often you router in wide boards. It's more putting pieces of, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 inch stock through. So I don't need a lot of table in front of the cutter. If I put it slap bang in the middle, then it's going to be the same. If I put it slightly to the front or the back, the way I've made this router table, I can actually swap the table round. I don't have to change the router plate around, but I actually could rotate the table 180 degrees. And I've got 180, so I can only go back another 70mm anyway. So it's either centre or all the way back. If I put it all the way back, and that means the centre is going to be about 150. I think I'm just going to put it central, because most of the time I'm going to be routering something probably like that. 350. That's the centre line of the table. That's the centre line. So that is my L. So I'm going to cut some of this out with a jigsaw, then I've not got too much to do. But what I am going to do is, as nice as this is, and I know it's got tape on, I'm going to place it, stick it down, and I'm going to just put a couple of little holes in it and a countersink and put a couple of little screws in, because I just don't want it wandering about when I'm routering. I don't know how good the bond is going to be between the tape. It's 3M tape, so should be good in theory, but if it wanders, then it's kind of broken as project. So I'd rather be filling 2 small holes with this than a big gouge once I've run away with a router. What I am going to do is, just because I'm going to run around this with a jigsaw, just see if I can give it a little score across the cross grain so it doesn't break out too much as I go around it with the jigsaw. So with the router plate there is a cutter that's supplied. That's a very nice touch, but the only problem with having the cutter is it's quite a long one, so for the bearing to rest on there I'm going to have to cut out the entire thickness of the top, and I'm always worried with a 6mm cutter of shading it off. So I have in my router already a shorter version of this, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to router first of all with this, and then maybe change to the longer one, and then I'm doing it in 2 passes. And also, to stop me having a bit of a wobble, I've got a bit of a 6mm MDF, and I've just planed the back down with a block plane, so it's the same thickness as this template. So as I run down there, I've just got a little bit more bearing capacity. Are you allowed to swear on YouTube? I've never done one of these without messing it up. So I don't know if you say what I've done there. I lifted the router out to see how much I'd done, and then as I plonked it back in, I actually just caught the side of it. I did that. That's flipping annoying. And it was a bit chattery on the end grain as well. Let's see if it goes in then. In theory, it should just fall straight through. Actually, it's a really nice tight fit. I don't know, hammer it in because it'll just fall straight through. Don't! That's really annoying. So I make these mistakes so you don't, demonstrating what not to do here, not what to do. Worst things happen at sea. Other than that, it looks like it's going to fit really nice. I just need to put them support plates on the other side now. At least it's not dusty work. Why didn't I put the dust extraction on? You say, well, I could do, but then I always find when you're finessing something like that on the router, the actual weight of the hose is pulling you over anyway. So that's what we do in it, make dust. Right then, support plates, screws. Now, something did occur to me last night, is that this top might be too thick for the length of these bolts, because they go like that. Let's take the router out. So they're going to come through there. I think they're going to be too short, which is all about the thickness of the top. So I've got two choices. Get some longer bolts or recess these into the top. Ideally, the top needs to be no thicker than about 22mm. Mine's 38. So I have recessed these 12mm into the underside of the top. Got to get some longer bolts. What would it take me to router them in? I would have to router 12mm deep. So I could make a little template for that out of, I don't know, 3/4 stock. So for example, could cut that probably a bit deeper with a return on. So some stock about probably 100 by 100, a bit longer. What do we think? Set the router at 12mm deep and just with one of them in it, like that. Shall we give it a go? It's actually a good job I put these in central, because if I put them in too much, I forgot that these were going to sit in, what, 15mm either side. I'm not quite sure. I've got to have enough space to have a little go with that router cut I took out. This is live problem solving, guys. Wind this up, couple of mil off it, see what a mess I can make of this one. So I need to go in about there, I think. Right there. Zick. Right then, let's have a go at that. What could possibly go wrong? Right, what's going on now then? Look at that. That's us fixed then. Do that on the other three sides. Now they're all aligned, just put the rest of these screws in. Hi guys, just a quick update. It was 3 days ago since I inserted this router plate, and at the time there was something that just didn't seem right and I couldn't quite put my fingers on it. I realised today, 3 days later, what I did wrong, and because of that I was trying to use them exactly like the Craig router leveling plates that I already have, where you've got the bolt from above holding the plate in place and you've got the two bolts from below wind up and down. Now the downside of that is, of course, you've got to go under the router table and wind them up to get the complete level. I've realised that that's not how these work, so when I put them in on Sunday and I fitted them how the Craig ones were, I was left feeling that the plate wasn't properly supported. I'll just take the plate out, the bolts going from above and then wind down, and then the middle one, it does actually lock through the plate into place. So when I put my plate in, I can then really easily, rather than climbing under the router table, I can just quite easily wind these in and level the plate, and then fit these to lock the plate in place. I don't know why that didn't occur to me on Sunday, but maybe sometimes you're just a little bit too near the project. So stepping away for a couple of days, I just realised my mistake. I thought that was really important to share that with you. The only real criticism with the things that Banggood has sent me so far, and I think I've got 6 items now from them, is the lack of instructions sometimes. Now it'd be interesting when I go and fit this router fence, because it does come with quite a comprehensive instruction book. Okay, so that took a little bit longer to do than I thought, but primarily because I'd made my top that thick that the bolts wouldn't reach. So if you buy one of these and your top is thicker than 22mm, you're going to have to think about either extending your bolts or recessing them support plates in underneath, as I did. Went okay in the end. Shame I just took a little chunk out of there. It goes to show you, you just need to 100% be showing attention when you're doing anything with power tools, because actually that weren't a sort of a template routing incident. It was just me being clumsy. So the next 3 things I've got to do is fit the fence, fit a 0 voltage switch so I don't have to put my hand under the table to turn the router on and off. And I've got one of them from my old router table. Just recess underneath this top so the saw fence can move backwards and forwards. But that's for the next video, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers, bye.